This review is made possible by Cadillac of Naperville. Come check out their brand new state-of-the-art showroom on Ogden Avenue in Naperville, Illinois.
Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2023 Cadillac Lyriq Debut Edition. Up front as well as down below is a completely electric drivetrain. This is Cadillac's first all-electric vehicle, and so I am very excited to share that with you today. But before we get on to anything else, I have a website, zackpraedel.com, where you can buy stickers and other merchandise when it becomes available. You could also submit your own vehicle to be reviewed by me through a quick and easy submission form, and you get a video of your car just like this one. And you could read my behind-the-scenes blog to see what I'm filming before it comes out on the channel. But let's get back to that all-electric drivetrain. Now, there's two drivetrains offered here in the Lyriq, either all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. This is the single-motor rear-wheel drive. So without further ado, I'm not going to lower the window because you're not going to hear anything because it's an electric car, but let's go for it. Not bad. It definitely sort of wafts more than chucks you back into your seat, which is the Cadillac way in terms of luxury, and I really, really like that. And I was kind of lying when I said you don't hear anything. You actually do hear something. That sound that you heard is actually the sound that the sun makes. So Cadillac actually went to NASA and said, hey, what kind of sound does the sun make? And they sent them back this file, and that's what they used for the sound of the Lyriq, which I think is a really, really cool little Easter egg. I personally did not know the sun made a sound, so that's pretty cool to learn. So all of that put together, Cadillac estimates that you can get about 312 miles of range on a full charge for the rear-wheel drive Lyriq, which I think is a pretty good number for the price especially, and we'll talk about that towards the end of the video. Like I said, rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive will be offered later. However, the debut editions are the rear-wheel drive, which is kind of interesting. Cadillac has sort of gone away from rear-wheel drive vehicles in the past, but they're coming back. And I absolutely love that. And I think this car as a whole is a really interesting point in Cadillac's life, and we'll talk about that with the final thoughts. So how does it feel to actually drive the Cadillac Lyriq? Well, it drives a lot like an electric car. It's quiet, it's smooth, and it has tons of tech. Visibility out the front is actually pretty good, and rear visibility isn't great, but I do have a rear view mirror that works as a camera. So there's a camera on the back of the car to make life a lot easier, so visibility isn't really an issue. The biggest thing you have to remember driving the Lyriq is the wheelbase. The wheelbase is actually slightly longer than the Cadillac Escalade, not the ESV, but the normal Cadillac Escalade. This car has a slightly longer wheelbase. It's a big vehicle, and so just keep that in mind while you're driving it. But with that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have a bunch of screens that are very, very customizable. I really, really like the gauge cluster. It's a little hard to see in harsh light conditions. However, I think it feels very, very modern and very fresh, even more so than the new Cadillac Escalade, and I thought that was cutting edge at the time. I'll show you some things that you can customize and change on the screen here. One of my favorite things, honestly, is the map settings, because it'll actually put Google Maps right in front of you in a very, very crystal clear display. It is so high definition, it looks fantastic, and I'm a big, big fan of this. On the steering wheel, on the left, I have my cruise control options. This does have Super Cruise, as well as I do have my heated steering wheel options, and off to the right, I have my skip track, volume, phone options, all your regular things. The overall look and feel of the steering wheel is nice. It's a good mix between traditional Cadillac, but also feeling fresh and modern. I really like the silver emblem in the center. I don't know why, that sort of just feels newer to me. Off to the left, I do have my different modes for that gauge cluster screen we just talked about, as well as I have my power parking brake, lane keep assist, auto holding brake, and gauge dimmer switch. Moving onto the door, I have two different memory seat options, my heated and ventilated seat options, and my massage seat options, which are all fantastic and things I would definitely want to see in a Cadillac. Down below, I have my lock and unlock, power mirrors, and power windows. All really nice things, and of course, I get the AKG speaker system. This comes with a 19 speaker system. Moving into the center, that gauge cluster screen continues. We have tons of cool information to go through in here. We can change the ambient lighting. We have some cameras we can look at. We can change our drive modes. My Cadillac, and this is all run through Google. So if you remember my Hummer EV video, GM has paired up with Google for their EVs to offer a really intuitive system for their infotainment, and I like it a lot. The only thing I really dislike about the infotainment system is the fact that the glove box button is found in here and it's not on the home screen. So if you want to open up the glove box, you have to dig through some menus. I don't know why GM has this war against handles, which we'll talk about with the exterior, but for some reason they did this and it's really annoying. I also do like that Google Maps is integrated into this. No longer do you have to plug in your phone and try to navigate Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Although this does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, you could just go right to Google Maps, which is my favorite mapping system, and I love that. Down below, I do have the climate controls. This is very traditional Cadillac. It looks almost identical to what you'd find in the Escalade. Of course, dual zone, auto, all of the things that you would want. Down below that, I get an interesting little cubby. This is what they call the jewelry box, which is just a nice little cubby. And then, because this isn't a traditional combustion engine vehicle, it has a really wide open center console because there's no transmission tunnel. So I do get a USB-C charger down below, this giant center console, but then it's sort of a two-tiered center console because coming up top, we do have our navigational tools for the center screen. Although it is a touch screen, you can use a joystick and you can use a home button, navigate, some hotkeys, and of course volume. And then off to the right, we do have cup holders. Now, if you're a fan of the channel, you'll have seen that I already did a big friggin' bottle test here in the Lyriq before I was able to drive it. And of course, because this is the same vehicle, now that I am driving it, of course it also fails, so that's not going to count towards more tally of the fail column, but it's still a fail nevertheless. Then we do get a wireless charger and a pretty giant center console with a 12-volt outlet and USB-C charger. If you'll notice in the car, there are no traditional USB chargers. It's all USB-C, which I really like because that is the way that technology is moving and feels very fresh and modern and won't feel dated in 2 or 3 years when those old USBs are completely obsolete. Now we gotta talk about the seats. Like I said, they are power, heated, massaging, ventilated, anything you want a modern seat to do, this seat will do, and I am absolutely loving it. It's very comfortable. It's not quite the lazy boy recliners that Cadillacs used to come with, but they are on their way to getting back to that, and I love that. They're very comfortable. The seating position is very good. I can obviously see everything, and I can adjust it to the day's end, which I love. However, speaking of seats, we do have a second row of seats, so let's go do some backseat reviews. All right, so we're in the back of the 2023 Cadillac Lyriq Debut Edition, and the first thing you notice is really the space. My knees are not hitting the seat in front of me, my head is not hitting the ceiling, and I really get to enjoy this full panoramic sunroof that is unbroken. Normally, a lot of cars have a bar that goes in between the driver and backseat area to kind of break it up and things like that. This is one unhindered piece of glass, and I really love that. I also do have lock and unlock features on the doors, which is really interesting and not included in most cars. I have 2 vents, I have 2 USB-C outlets as well as a traditional wall outlet, and I do get a little center console with 2 cup holders in it, and that's pretty much it. Now, this is only a 2-row vehicle. It is not offered with a 3rd row. However, that is really awesome because it gives you so much space in the 2nd row. I would say, honestly, this is more comfortable sitting in the 2nd row than in the Escalade. I just really like this experience. It feels very sedan-like, and I like that a lot. But overall, this is one of the really nice perks of the Lyriq, is the fact that this really feels very luxurious, and I love to see that. Speaking of space, however, let's hop out. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so we're on the back of the Cadillac Lyriq, and what I love about modern Cadillacs is to open the trunk, you just hit the logo, which I think is really cool. Now, of course, it does have a power tailgate, and this is my filming equipment, which, as you can see, this is not a small box. You have tons and tons of space back here, which I really love. Now, you do get a privacy cover as well, really smooth on how that comes out, and I do have power options for the 2nd row if I want to put them down. Boom, just like that, and boom, just like that. Now, something I do want to note is coming around the side here, putting these seats back up is so easy. They're so light. It really makes life so much simpler, and if you have a bad back, It's not going to be an issue at all, which in the past it has been. So other than that, nothing too crazy back here. We do get some more storage down below, but that's pretty much it. And then you just come right up here, hit the button, and it closes with the power tailgate. Nice, smooth, and quiet. And I absolutely love that about the Lyriq. Now we got to talk about the looks, and I really, really like the look of this car. It's finished in satin steel metallic, and there's a bunch of things on the exterior I do want to talk about, but the one thing is that this does have the upgraded larger wheels, and it has that really long wheelbase. When we get around the side of the car, you can really start to notice how large this vehicle is, and that's going to play a very important role here in a second. But I do want to show you a couple things. First of all, the door handles, I think, are incredibly stupid. You push the button where the door handles would be, and then you pull on this little wing thing. Again, like the glove box, I don't know why GM is waging a war on handles. They've worked for decades, and now I don't know why they're changing them. However, you can't really fault GM because most EVs have done this as well. Personally, I hope that GM gets rid of this for 2024. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the lighting sequence. Basically, wake up the vehicle. It does this really cool lighting sequence that I'll play here, and I think that that is a really, really nice touch from Cadillac. I think it makes the car feel very, very special. And this is a special car. They've only made under 200 of them as of the filming of this video. So it's a special automobile, and it makes me feel very, very special. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think finally driving the Cadillac Lyriq? I've been wanting to drive this vehicle ever since I saw it, and today is finally that day. Well, let's talk about the downsides really quickly. Handles. Glove box and exterior handles are pretty awful. I don't know why they did this. Whatever. Let's move past it. The other downside is the fact that this car does not qualify for the government rebate for EVs. Because this vehicle is technically classified as a sedan, which I don't know how they figured that out. Someone in the government needs their eyes checked. Because it's classified as a sedan, it's too expensive to get the tax credit. But if it were an SUV, which, let's be honest, this is an SUV, it would have actually applied because that limit is $80,000 and this is in the mid-60s. So unfortunately, you can't get that tax credit if you are to buy the Lyriq. However, I do want to talk about the price, and that's one of the major upsides. Mid-60s for this car is an amazing price, given the fact that Teslas kind of start in the 60s if you want the S or the X. I recently drove a Model X. Now that was, sure, a little bit quicker, and that was all-wheel drive, but that was in the hundred thousands of dollars. This is in the 60s. That's an amazing, amazing price for a luxury vehicle. Don't forget, it has massage seats. It has the Google Assistant. It's still quick. It's electric. It goes 312 miles on a charge. It has all these great features. I truly believe that a little over $61,000, this is an amazing, amazing deal. For just the features you get, even in a gasoline-powered car, massaging seats is not a very cheap option. The amount of space and leg room and features are not easy to come by in $61,000 cars at all. So given the fact that it's electric, it's new, it's hip, that to me is just bonus on top of bonus on top of bonus. I really, really like this car. I'm really impressed with Cadillac's first fully electric vehicle. I know that's the way that they're heading, and I said we'd talk about it earlier. This is a very interesting period in Cadillac's life because you have this cutting edge car coming out, but you also have them holding on to the combustion engine. They just released the Escalade V, which is a dinosaur burning in your face, screaming V8 that's supercharged. And yet they also offer this, which is a very, very new electric vehicle in the way the market's moving. So Cadillac is sort of stuck in both worlds at the moment. And I have to say that that's not a bad thing. If whatever you want, Cadillac can offer you something to fill that void, and I like to see that. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Max over at Cadillac in Naperville. He's absolutely awesome. If you have any questions, they have a couple of Lyriqs right now. Please go into their showroom, sit in it, play with all the buttons, ask your questions, and honestly, talk about financing because these things are awesome. Their information is up on the screen as well as linked in the description below. I very much appreciate it, and I hope you guys check this out. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.